Hello everyone and welcome in today's video. Thank you for joining me. My name is Steven. We are going to take a look at a beautiful fragrance by Parfums De Marly. This one is called Layton. So I'm going to show you a little clip of the unboxing of this fragrance in B-roll here, picture in picture, so you can see up close what the packaging looks like. Going to start out with a little bit of my history, my story about this fragrance, how I came around to finally purchase it. This was released in 2016 and I was getting into niche fragrances really fast at that time. I discovered them by the end of 2014. And there's so many niche fragrances out there. I know there were so many things that I hadn't smelled yet. And not to say that it's a bad thing, but when I first sampled Layton in late 2016, I kind of felt like it wasn't really that amazing because it was very easy on the nose and it did smell really good. I have to stress that upon trying it at first, kept getting beautiful wafts of it through the afternoon. Projection was great, the overall smell was amazing. But I figured like, well, there's so many things I haven't smelled yet and it's not that artistic. I mean, it's not the most unique, daring fragrance out there. And so I passed up on it, figuring, well, there's still time to make up my mind about this fragrance. Maybe I'll get it later. And so I kind of forgot about it for months and months, and then we came in the mid of 2017 and there was a new variation on this fragrance called Layton Exclusive. Still, didn't pay any attention to it. A lot of people were hyping it. Didn't really, came around to try that one as well. A couple of weeks ago, I kind of was overwhelmed by the amount of popularity regarding Layton and Layton Exclusive on social media, on the Facebook groups, on Instagram. A lot of people were, consistently hyping this fragrance. And I thought to myself, well, there's a certain hype around Aventus, and I really like Aventus. Maybe they are right about Layton as well, So I had to try it. And long story short, I ordered samples with Parfumaria.com, which is a great perfume store in the Netherlands. They do ship worldwide, I think, but preferably within Europe, so that you get it quite quickly. I ordered samples of Layton, Layton Exclusive, Carlisle, and some other fragrances to try out. Again, I was kind of like, well, this smells great, but what is the deal about it, really? So I kept trying it out again and again and again, and I have to say that it took me a few wearings to really start to fall in love with it, so to say. There isn't really anything particularly artistic or out there or daring or unique about this fragrance. It does share some similarities with other fragrances that I have smelled in the past, and that's perfectly fine. I mean, this fragrance is just stunning the way it is. So I started to come around to it, and by now, well, I gave in and I ordered the bottle. That's the end of it. Maybe we should start out with a little bit of the note breakdown for Layton. This fragrance opens up with fresh, spicy and aromatic notes like bergamot, lavender, green apple note and mandarin orange. And personally, let me just do a quick respray here so I get the impression all over again, because I've been wearing this all day. And guys, man, this is, I mean, I don't really like hype. I think that it kind of gives people a certain perspective that is like a gift from God and it's the best thing ever. And maybe they will get disappointed. So I don't really, want to get onto the hype train and, copy everyone else's opinion and say tell you this is the very best thing ever. But the opening does smell incredible. I mean, everyone talks about that green apple note and it's definitely there. It's fresh, It's even a little zesty, it's zingy, it pops really, really nice with that bergamot all together. There is some sweetness right away from the base of this fragrance, which contains a lot of vanilla. But there's also that mandarin orange that makes me think about Chanel Alluring Sport in particular. Although that one is definitely not similar to this fragrance, but it does have a beautiful mandarin orange note that is found in the opening of Layton as well. It's definitely spicy. That lavender hits you right away. And then we go over to the mid of this fragrance. We have violet, jasmine, and geranium. Now, although these notes are somewhat floral, it doesn't come off feminine at all. I mean, I would even say that this fragrance leans a little bit towards the masculine side, although I do think it's still quite unisex. Jasmine is beautifully woven in there in the composition. It gives a warm, comforting aspect to the mid of the fragrance, which does come off even slightly metallic at some point. It's probably the combination of the lavender with the spiciness of the geranium and such, and the violet of course as well. Violet is a note that gives a special touch to a lot of fragrances. Think about Fahrenheit, which is also kind of heavy on the violet leaf, but very well done, very well executed in this composition. So then we go over to the base of this fragrance, and we have a lot of woody notes, but also that warm, cozy vanilla that you get right away in the top of this fragrance, but you know, comes forward even more in the dry down. So you have gaiac wood, you have sandalwood, you have patchouli, you also have cardamom, vanilla, pink pepper. So the spiciness continues. So the lavender, which is spicy aromatic, goes over into that geranium, then transitions to a, you know, black pepper. This is just a fragrance that keeps on smelling amazing, although it does transition to a whole different fragrance in my opinion. In the dry down, it's less spicy than in the opening, although it does mention that there's black pepper in there. It's mostly warm. There's mostly vanilla, soft, woody notes, and a little bit of that aromatic quality still there. People will really like this one if they smell it. And that's another thing on this fragrance when we come to versatility and wearability. There's only a few fragrances in my collection that I can just wear whenever, wherever, and also that I can see each and every one on this planet wear, and Layton is definitely one that scores high in that category. It's a fragrance that I can just spray any point in the day, any time of the year. Just for that fact alone, I really adore this fragrance. Performance for Layton is when I tried it out when my samples arrived, I sprayed a couple of times and I thought to myself, to my memory, it was stronger in 2016. But the thing is, as you might have seen in the beginning of this video, the sprayer on Parfums De Marly bottles are quite, they're very generous. They spray all over the place. They leave a nice mist. Distribution is also, you know, ginormous. It sprays in a big area. And I have experienced when sampling fragrances, they also advise you this from the store Parfumaria. You should try it out all over yourself. When you try a fragrance, you need to experience it like a scent cloud. If you try out different fragrances in a certain spot, it might not give you the whole experience. And so I thought, well, the samples, they kind of underperformed, and to my memory, it was stronger. But so I amped up my sprays and quickly, of course, emptied my samples. After only 2 or 3 wearings, it was all gone, and I had 2 of them. But it did perform great. Lasting power is between 8 and 12 hours, depending on how moist my skin actually is for that day. Projection is great for the first 2 to 3 hours, but afterwards kind of tones down to a arm's length, or even, you know, after the fourth and fifth hour, it kind of gets quite close to myself as a, not necessarily a skin scent, because it still has some sillage and it leaves a nice trail when you walk by, especially if you hit clothes. I mean, it will last forever on clothes, which is a good thing. So this is a fragrance, it does perform adequate, it does perform good. I don't think that it is reformulated. I just think that my memory is kind of giving me a wrong impression of how it used to be. And the bottle itself, when you spray like 3 to 4 sprays, it's like probably 8 to 10 sprays of a sample atomizer. So that's why it's probably giving me a bit of a mixed feeling in that regard. But like I said, performance is nothing to complain about. So I told you about performance, I told you about wearability. That leaves me only a couple of things left. The competition. With a mass appealing, easy to the nose, versatile fragrance like Layton, you have a lot of competition. I mean, only thinking about La Nuit de l'Homme, Hugo Boss bottled in the designer world, Thierry Mugler Pure Malt is another fragrance. I've seen a lot of people compare it to Layton. To a certain degree, I understand where all of you come from. There are elements of all of those fragrances, even Chanel Alluring Spa, which I've mentioned in the beginning. All of those fragrances have certain elements that make me think about Layton, but it is blended in here to a specific scent of its own. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a dupe for any of those fragrances. It's like they've taken the best parts of any of those fragrances and added something else to make it a unique standalone fragrance. Retailing in America for around $200 for a 75 ml bottle, which is a smaller size. This is the 125 ml that will retail you for about $300. If you're from Europe, you'll probably find it for around 150 euros for the smaller size, and 200 euros for the big bottle like this one. So it is not to say it's a cheap fragrance, but then again, I mean, for the type of performance that you get, the overall smell itself, obviously, which is the main thing that we will judge a fragrance on, it's just very appealing to the nose. This is a fragrance that you can wear whenever, wherever, and you will smell great. You will enjoy it for yourself. I mean, I personally do, and I can see a lot of other people doing that as well. So for those reasons, I'd say that it is it's justified. I mean, I finally splurged and got a bottle for myself. This was not sponsored, I paid for it, as I do for most of my fragrances. But yeah, I think it's money well spent. I think this is one that I will wear for a lot of occasions where I just don't want to smell too particular, and I just want to know that I'm one of the best guys, best smelling guys in the room, if not the best. And yeah, it will get a lot of wear for me. So the overall verdict, in my opinion, is the hype justified, and is everyone right on this fragrance? Well, yes and no. I mean, it's a great fragrance and I really like it a lot, otherwise I wouldn't have bought a bottle for myself. But I do think a lot of people over exaggerate when rating this fragrance, trying to give you the impression that it is the very best thing ever, and it's definitely not. It's just a very great solid fragrance, everything you want for as kind of like a signature scent. It'll do its magic on your skin, it will linger on your clothes for days, you'll get compliments, people will enjoy it, and you will enjoy it as well. It's not the best thing out there. There's no such thing as a grail, and even though I would like to say that for me that's Aventus, but that will probably change as well. And at one point in time, I mean, there's all sorts of new fragrances coming out, and so I will end this video by saying that I think that Layton is extremely nice. I would suggest trying it out for yourself. I know a lot of people have already talked about this one, so I hope it was still somewhat interesting for you to watch my take on this one. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Guys, if you have any questions, again, post them in the comment section. Let me know what your favorite Parfums De Marly fragrance is. And I hope you enjoy your day. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.